How's it going, guys? Today we're going over my process of how I created this D.Va portrait using the Procreate app on my iPad and using the Apple Pencil. So first off, I'm just making a general sketch here, and I'm using the soft pastel brush in the sketching section of your brushes. So just going over lightly, creating the general shapes and angles. As you can see here, I flipped over the canvas to get the angle that I preferred, and I'm going ahead and sketching in some of her costume features or outfit, just kind of working my way around. As you can see, the color that I'm using, it's a red earth tone, sepia colored. This way it's easier to distinguish when I'm going over it with the line work in the next step. So once I'm satisfied with how the sketch is, I went ahead and deepen the tones, adding some more darks and getting everything correct. So here I go to the next stage and I created a new layer called the inking layer. And I'm using the Studio Pen. It's a slightly modified version of the Studio Pen in the inking section of your brushes. So I set the opacity down on the layer underneath, on the sketch layer, to about 50%. And in the new inking layer, I set it to a black color, going over everything, kind of varying my line width. Trying to be precise here, since you already got the sketch underneath to go off of, and just trying to keep your line work clean and erasing when necessary. And once again, just working my way around the picture, blocking in the deepest darks. And now I went ahead and created a brand new layer for the flat colors. I'm using this underneath the inking layer, so the inking layer is going to be at the very top right now. And just going over everything with the flat brush. I'm using the round brush in the painting section, and I have the opacity set at 100%. So just blocking in the general blues and grays, all the flat colors of the portrait. And for the whites, I'm actually not going full white. I'm using just a little bit of a softer white. That way I save myself a little bit of room for highlights later. So just still blocking everything in, and as you can see, I'm changing the brown color of her hair to a little bit lighter brown. I decided to like the lighter shade a little bit better, so I went ahead and added that in. Here's another layer, blocking in some general shapes on the background in grayscale. And once again, create a new layer for the shading, just blocking in her skin tones, getting the forms, using a deeper tone of a warm brown color. Now getting some shading underneath the eyes, her eyelids. Just staying on the face for the moment. And adding a little bit of lights here on the lips and her cheeks area. Going back to the background here. And then I created a separate overlay layer to get in those glowing colors in the background using a soft brush. So now we're going back to the shading layer, and we're working on her collar here, By the way, for this portrait I separated everything into shading, light, and reflected lights on the layers. So right here I kind of fast forwarded to add in some of the reflected lights. Sometimes I'll create everything on one layer and just separate things by like skin, outfit, hair. But for this particular one I just separated everything by shade, light, reflected light, highlights, ink, etc. So here I'm adding some deeper black shades to her outfit. Before I add in some lights, I tend to work in sections of the picture, adding in a bit of reflected light, working on those dark pink tones, adding in some blue reflected light. And so now we're just adding in the final details before we wrap this portrait up. So feel free to ask any questions or leave any comments. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.